Hey guys, welcome back to the Diet Doc Life Mastery Podcast. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Dr. Kori Propst, our resident health psychologist and vice president wellness director, and pretty much everything else in the company that matters. And Kori, that's basically how I introduced you for the final piece, or at least I thanked you after your Sunday morning lecture at the 2019 annual conference. And guys, for those of you who may be stepping into our podcast right now, you've missed 4 or 5 segments of this series. We're going through a highlight reel of that conference. And so Kori and I started this off talking about some of our initial presentations and themes for the company. And then we let several of our licensed program owners present topics and lead panels. And so now we're in Sunday morning. The conference is ending. It's Sunday morning. People have had these euphoric mountaintop experiences. And here comes Kori Propst with her clipboard in hand. And she gave this powerful, it was the best Kori presentation I've ever seen, called Change Agents. And I'll stop my introduction with this statement. The whole theme, the biggest theme of the conference was, in today's business climate, especially in the health and fitness industry, we can no longer lead with or rely on information. The social media epic of the information age has made that almost obsolete, or has made it at least so redundant that people are not knocked off their chair and surprised by amazing information. So we have to, more than that, create experience. Mm-hmm. And so Kori titled her presentation, Change Agents and How to Bring About That Change with Clients. So I'm going to finally shut up, Kori.
No, it's good.
Pitch the ball back over to you and let you amaze our audience with your presentation notes.
Well, thank you, Joe. And I think the most powerful part of that entire experience for me in that final presentation was the panel, where we brought up 4 or 5 of our owners, and most of them, Joe, were mindset and motivation coaches who've been trained by me. And so they've been in the trenches and doing this work where they are really coaching not just towards change, but the foundation of change, which is like inspiration and challenge and choice and freedom and confidence. And this was really what my presentation was about. How do we get individuals into this space where all of those things become possible? And there were 2 pieces to it that I wanted to dig into with all of our owners who were present. And that's connection plus reflection. So we can do great work with clients and we can connect with them on a very, very deep level. And we can have that relationship be very engaged, and we can have it become very intimate. Someone even, I remember during the presentation, commented on the fact that we become friends a lot of times with our clients because we do become very close. We're helping them to sort through things that in many ways they've never been able to address before or talk about in a very real or authentic way. But so we can have that connection. But if we're also not helping to facilitate that individual reflect upon the connection and reflect upon what they're learning and reflect upon how they're going to take these new skills and abilities into the other areas of their lives, then a lot of the change isn't necessarily going to be sustainable. So these were the 2 pieces of it, connection plus reflection, that we really dove into. And one of the pieces of that, one of the sort of primary elements in order for us to be able to create the connection in the first place, but then secondarily have the client feel more connected with themselves in order to make that sustainable change, was the concept of self-compassion.
No, the greatest thing that comes to my mind hearing you reflect on this
Mm-hmm.
is that it takes not only some extra time that I think coaches don't understand, but it also takes an entirely different set of skills. So I think of the impact you've had. For example, you mentioned that a lot of the people on your panel, which I chose specifically because they are your mindset and motivation coaches,
Mm-hmm.
you know, these people are not trained psychologists like you, but they are trained by you. So they're in your lane, getting that information, getting that education and training. And so I hear them not only using similar words and phrases to explain things, but
Mm-hmm.
they show up on our company forum. They show up in other places in social media, and I see them having an impact that they would just never have if it was all about just the numbers, just about how much weight are you losing, what are your macros, blah, blah, blah. And the kind of impact that I think you are having extends farther than you may even know. I mean, I listened to your podcast this week that you did with Omar and Eric Helms in Iron Culture. And because of you, Eric Helms and 3DMJ even hired a licensed mental health therapist, Amanda. And so a lot of people are starting to see that it, you know, to create that experience really does take just an entirely different mindset. And I don't know if many coaches are even there yet to understand what's happening with that wave you're creating.
Well, thank you for that, Joe. I do think that maybe it's just maybe it's inexperience, maybe it's not enough mentorship that coaches are getting, but they do focus primarily, and this is important, they need to focus on the practical aspects of whatever this person is engaged in towards their goal. Let's just use weight loss as an example first. Tracking food, weighing and measuring. Okay, yes, those are all very important. Meeting macros, which you need all of, tracking to do. But if that's all we're providing as coaches, that's not what coaching is. Coaching is the relationship. Coaching is engagement. Coaching is having a creating, how do I want to say this? Creating a very reparative experience for these individuals who have probably never had someone that they could talk to in a more open, curious, expansive, honest way. Because how many clients have we had who come to us saying, I really couldn't talk to my coach. I couldn't tell them how things were going in other areas of my life that were genuinely affecting my ability to shift in the ways that need shifting in order for me to do this. What's super cool, I think, is that, yes, while I have these mindset and motivation coaches who are going out into the world and they're just, they are making waves, literally. And I see those comments too that you're referring to. And I feel so proud. As you were speaking, I got goosebumps. I see my clients do it. And when my clients do it, that's when I feel most proud.
I was totally gonna go there with my next comment, which is, I know we can't expect every coach to have clinical mental health therapist skills, but it starts with just being interested in your clients as human beings. And I see that reflected back to me, Kori, by exactly what you say. When a client starts asking me about my life, we'll go through the business of the week. We're doing a weekly check-in, but then they're like, "Hey, Joe, how's your training going?" Or, "Hey, Joe, what did you do this weekend?" Or I'm like, wow, this person is really engaging in a deeper relationship with me than just the coach-client role. And that means I'm facilitating something that's more meaningful to them than just a goal.
Well, and yeah, because they're feeling like they're on I want my clients, and I know you do too, to feel like they're on equal footing with you. I have some knowledge, I have some expertise, I have some experience that I can share with them. But guess what? They have just as much knowledge and expertise and experience that they can share with me. And together, when we can weave that, my goodness, like that's powerful stuff right there.
You know, one of the things that you said that I love is that when you have this kind of a deeper relationship, you're creating an experience, you have to expect there to be some ups and downs, just like a sibling relationship or a partner relationship. And that doesn't mean things are going horribly. It doesn't mean that you just have to say, okay, wow, we're having a conflict, so I'm just going to fire you or you're going to fire me.
Yes.
Some of those times when there's been some heated discussion or some misunderstanding, those have created some of the best foundations for growth, not only in that client, but in our own relationship with each other. And that's, again, you don't anticipate that as a, quote, coach who's not anticipating this kind of a deeper experience with clients, but it's something to definitely be ready for and know how to navigate.
Well, I think that what makes the relationship so powerful is the ability to have that very authentic relationship. Intimacy isn't happy and joyful and seamless all the time. Intimacy means there is going to be it's going to be real. And there are going to be those misunderstandings. But for you to be able to stay in that space and to invite your client into that space, and then to have that not just self-awareness, but other awareness where you can say, how are we? Dr. Adam Martin and I discussed this in his most recent podcast that I did with him on motivational interviewing. To be able to have the discussion together of how's our relationship right now? I feel some tension. I don't want to assume I know what that's about. Can you help me understand what you're experiencing right now? And then to have that dialogue. That's real. There's, again, we take ourselves off the pedestal as expert, and we bring the power balance to a more equal space and footing. And that's what gives both people in the relationship the sense of trust to be able to communicate at that level.
You know, I was about to ask you in closing if you could just give one thing for coaches to consider, but I think more than anything, it's what you give to our mindset and motivation coaches who are program owners of the Diet Doc. And that is that just this kind of content that we're producing, these podcasts, you know, blogs, vlogs, posts in social media everywhere. Anytime you can just be around somebody who's living that, you pick up new things. So I don't know if you do have one particular thing that you've created, a long form educational piece that you could note for people or, you know, put in the show notes, but is there one final thing you'd like to close with?
You know, Joe, I think that, so a lot of people know that I just got back from this 500-mile epic cycling journey. And there's a lot of time to think and reflect and ponder life. And in the process of this too, meet people who you see how they act and you absorb their energy and you're like, I want to be more like that. I just want to tell a quick story. So I was riding with one of my new friends from this event, and we were descending this massive summit of a mountain, and he just starts waving like this every time we pass someone going down the hill. Every time we pass someone, he's like, so I start doing it too. I'm like right behind him. I'm drafting behind him. So now whoever we're passing going the opposite direction, we're just like waving and smiling. It was so interesting and fun and enlivening to see the reaction of the other people. And most of them would get this big smile on their face and wave back. And I talked about this with him later, and he was just like, it's my job in life to spread joy through the village. And I do feel like this relates to all of what we're talking about right now. I'm remembering like this one, probably 10 minutes worth of however many hours I was cycling. Why? Because I felt joyful, because I felt emotional, because it was empowering. And that's what we do for our clients, that we have a responsibility to do that with our clients, to make their experience memorable.
I am glad you told that story, because that's how I feel about our company. When we get finished with something like our annual conference, which is our Super Bowl, and we have 25, 40, 50 program owners in one space for a whole weekend, that's what we all walk away with. We learn a lot of great things, but we intentionally schedule at least half of the time to be social time, because it's in those impromptu moments of life that you really get the most. And that's exactly what we're talking about with our clients, is creating that kind of experience. So you are awesome, Kori. And I just want to close this entire series, guys, with this invitation. We've created a lot of promotional videos, things we've never done on what the Diet Doc even is. So if you're interested, if you're a nutrition coach, a fitness entrepreneur, you want to be on the inside with the kind of support that our program owners receive from our medical directors, Kori, myself, all of the peers within our company, message us. We would love to give you information. We are looking for the best potential coaches in the world to become part of our company. And so that's what we do. And happy to bring you guys this kind of information, but you guys are secondary to our program owners. Remember that. When we create these kind of podcasts, we're doing it to teach them this kind of stuff, and we're incredibly happy that we can share with you. But consider that, reaching out, finding out what we do on the inside, and would love to share that with you. So Kori, again, thank you for all of your contributions to the series, the conference, and our company. And we will catch you guys again next time.
Thanks, guys.